Hi folks, this is your MWIS Planning Outlook with the details into the weekend and beyond. Now, all the focus in recent times has been about some heavy rainfall and very mild temperatures that have been around early in October. But if you've been watching this video for a few weeks, you'll know we've been hinting at the idea of some chillier conditions coming down from the northwest into the middle of the month. And that's what we have as we head through this week ahead. Here's the temperature anomaly in relation to the long-term averages. That's over the 5-day period through to the weekend. And we dip below average as that wind flow does turn around to the northwest. The warmer conditions this stage still very much across Europe, with the airflow coming in from the south-southwest in this part of the world. That switch of wind direction, though, does extend all the way across the continent in the longer range, and that's through to the 22nd of October. We're still a little bit below average through that time, so an extended cooler spell is around. Temperatures may be just creeping back up a little bit as we head towards the final third of the month, though. Let's take a look through the freezing level situation then as we head towards the weekend. This is the height that we'd find 0 Celsius in metres and the scope for some frozen terrain, and that's between around 1,000 and 1,200 metres through Scotland on Wednesday, so the very highest tops near or just below freezing point. That will be similar into Thursday, maybe a touch higher, so only the very highest summits around the Ben Nevis and the Cairngorms near to freezing point. Similar into Friday, we see that value around 1,000 metres in the far north, so near to freezing again on the very highest tops. It's into the weekend, though, that we'll see some colder air pulling in from the northwest, and that freezing level for Saturday daytime is around 800 metres, perhaps even a touch lower for a time across the northwest in the morning. And even across northern England, that 1,000-metre contour has come down as far as this, so the highest tops in the Lake District and maybe even into North Wales could be close to freezing point for Saturday daytime, so one to bear in mind. Late Saturday into the overnight hours to Sunday, with likely clear skies, we will have a touch of frost, perhaps quite a widespread frost across many northern regions if we do have clear skies all the way through the night. So that could be a chilly start for Sunday morning for all, and a cold day across the mountains again, with that freezing level staying around 800 metres or maybe a touch lower in the north of the Highlands, at least in the morning. Western coastal areas typically a bit higher, but again near to freezing point across most high tops of Britain. And that fairly low temperature value will stay around into early next week, with the freezing level suggested for Monday around 1,000 metres, so a bit higher than over the weekend. Before that colder air arrives, we do have some further heavy rainfall to come, this time focused more across Wales in the later part of this week as a slow-moving front is around here. The risk of some very high river levels and the scope for some flooding in places if that rain does become heavy and prolonged, and some showery conditions still giving some frequent precipitation towards the west and northwest of Scotland, drier toward the eastern side of the Highlands. Now, I'm sure this chart will grab your attention because this is the snow depth forecast, and this is heading into the weekend. And just notice as we go through Saturday daytime, as that colder air is around and some showers are likely to be in the forecast, that we do have the model forecasting some lying snow across the Scottish mountains, and that would be focused toward the northwest Highlands, maybe getting into the northern side of the Cairngorms as well through this weekend. This is onwards into the start of Sunday, so there is the scope for some snow to be on the ground from these showers across the higher tops in Scotland. Don't be expecting too much, but there may just be that dusting and a covering on some higher slopes, so do be aware of some icy conditions that may just be around on the higher northern tops. Things to watch then towards the weekend. Let's have a look at the synoptic charts. Here's Wednesday, and we've got a powerful westerly flow across Scotland, gales or severe gales across the higher mountains throughout the day. Some showers mostly in the northwest, and these will have some snow flurries across the higher Munros, largely dry further south and east across Scotland, mostly dry for northern England as well after some early rain associated with this cold front has pushed southwards, but that's likely to give a pretty wet day across Wales throughout the day on Wednesday. Some rain too around for the Peak District that may gradually fade from the north. Slightly higher pressure is around on Thursday, dry for many places. The remnants of those fronts toward the south could still bring some rain and drizzle across parts of Wales, mostly dry for North England and across central southern parts of Scotland, the eastern parts of the Highlands too. Bits and pieces of patchy drizzly rain and showers just around western and northwestern coasts though. The wind across the Highlands not as strong as Wednesday, but will strengthen again as the day goes on, so the risk of gales may be becoming severe by Thursday night across northwestern regions as the next Atlantic low passes through. Low pressure is towards the north then on Friday, and we've got that powerful westerly wind with gales or severe gales across the higher mountains in the Highlands, and showery conditions again in the west and northwest in particular, and these once more falling as some snow or even some hail at times over the mountain tops. Largely dry for central, south and eastern parts of the Highlands, a front across Wales and northern England. A bit of uncertainty how far north or south this goes, but it does bring the risk of some further heavy rain across Wales for a good part of the day. It may just get into northern England early on Friday, but then likely to pull away southwards again, leaving the Lake District and North Pennines perhaps dry much of Friday daytime, but breezy and feeling chilly. By Saturday, northwesterly winds prevail with low pressure over Scandinavia and high pressure out to the west, and it's a story of showers, these most frequent across northern and western coastal regions, some of these quite heavy at times with the risk of some hail, that even falling to lower slopes, and snow up over the mountain tops, maybe even falling at times to around 700 or 800 metres, and the scope for accumulations then across the Munros in the Highlands. I would doubt that there's any accumulations any lower down than that. It will feel bitterly cold though, with those strong winds. Could still be gale force across the mountains, with the best of any brightness typically towards the central parts of the Highlands and further inland across England and Wales. Fewer showers overall by Sunday, as high pressure is expected to build further from the west. There's an uncertain weak front which may just be draped towards northern Scotland. That could just bring some localised areas of showers. Again, these will fall as snow flurries over higher terrain. Otherwise, a generally dry and bright day for many, with broken clouds, some sunshine, excellent visibility, and feeling bitterly cold once again, with that risk of frost in the morning in the valleys and the glens. Quite an uncertain story as we go onwards into next week, with some suggestions of high pressure pushing towards Scandinavia, and that would form some sort of blockage in the atmosphere and stop Atlantic patterns coming in from the west with too much strength, but they may just start to fringe into western regions. It could be that we see some drier conditions prevail for a few days at least. Just really depends exactly how close to us that area of high pressure remains. Overall, it looks to be on the cooler side, so the scope for frost overnight is much greater than recently, and daytime temperatures on the cool side as well, but maybe not quite as cold as over the weekend. There's been signals for a while that late October would see high pressure focused near or to the north of Britain, and that's still there on the forecast modelling at this stage, with the orange colours here showing where the higher than average pressure pattern would persist, and that would draw in maybe more of an easterly type of weather pattern, which again would remain on the cooler side, not as cold as it would be in the depths of winter, but just preventing the Atlantic weather patterns from getting in, so the scope for some drier and fairly cool conditions continuing to the end of the month. Treated cautiously, but very similar patterns into the start of November. High pressure toward the north, again stopping the progress of the Atlantic weather systems, so quieter overall compared to the recent wind and rain. You'll want to think about your winter layers though as you plan for this weekend. Keep up to date with your local forecasts every day on our website. That is your planning outlook. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.